and welcome to another episode of Healing Visionaries online show. I'm your host, Colleen O'Connor, and today we have with us Mudang Jenn. Korean shamans are called Mudangs, and its shamanism is called Musuk or Muism, religion or way of the Mu.
Mm-hmm.
Jenn received her Mudang name, which is when she was initiated in Korea's sacred mountains, which means many gods or abundance of gods and spirits. Fully practicing in the traditional ways of her shamanic roots in New York City with her spirit mother and elder.
Mm-hmm.
There's a special note on divination. Before she works with anyone, every client, before doing any prayer, ritual, or ceremony, must have a divination session to have the gods and spirits assist and assess what is needed to bring about the desired results. She works together with her spirit family, helping release and relieve ancestral pain, Korean Han, and trauma through ceremonies and rituals called kut. The bulk of the work is mainly bringing fruitful manifestations, helping with a sickness, disease, and helping ancestors. So, thank you, Mudang Jenn. It is great to meet you and have you on the show. We appreciate your time with us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, and I know you're going to really help us understand the specialty of Korean shamanism, which is really exciting. I can't wait to find out more about this.
Mm-hmm. Korean shamanism is the original folk religion for Korea. It's been there for centuries, prior to the arrival of Buddhism, Confucianism, or even Taoism. So it was the original country, or the country beliefs. It's what creates our nation, our daily traditional life. There's shamanic aspects in everything. Traditionally back then, we used to have gods and spirits residing in everything. For example, we would have a god or spirit residing within our front door that's a protector of our space. And we have gods and deities residing in every part of the house and also within nature as well. And a lot of these gods and deities and the work that the shamans do is to provide offerings, prayers, and helping mediate between the human world and the spirit world.
Yeah, you said outside too. Do you mean like in the garden of the home?
When I mean outside, I also mean outside as in nature, because we also have gods and spirits residing within the mountain, within the oceans, within, there gods and deities within the trees. So we're very animistic, rooted culture. So
right.
That is the fundamental of a lot of our beliefs.
Right. And so you're working there in New York City. Are your clients mostly Korean or everybody? And what kind of things do they come to you for?
Well, initially at first, my clients are Korean, but over time, my clientele changed because I am bilingual, so I offer a unique service. So over time, I do see, I have clients from all over the world internationally. So I'm very blessed, and I feel very, proud that, I have the ability to connect with different people despite the cultural barriers or differences. But
yes.
When people usually come, a lot of times there's a lot of divination sessions where people would clarity or answers to a lot of their questions that they seek where they can't find answers. Sometimes people come to me when they have like a desire, a burning question, but they don't know what the question is specifically either. So a lot of times they have this, in my culture, we say that your ancestors, your spirits, they pull you to get divination readings so you can find answers. So in our culture, we say that you are pulled by the spirits.
To seek the answers.
Yes.
Yes. And what are you wearing now? This is the traditional Korean outfit.
Yeah, so traditionally, whenever I do any type of ceremonial work, any rituals, under my shaman regalia and my robes, I have the traditional outfit, which we call hanbok. And this is the traditional clothing. So this is, so to speak, our unofficial uniform, so to speak, because since we are representation of the culture and traditions, a lot of mudangs, they wear hanbok when they're either performing divination services or any other services.
Yeah, I just wanted to check and see if that,
Oh.
so this is not the shamanic outfit.
No. My shaman regalia and robes, they are only worn in ceremony or rituals, because to wear we call them the robes and the regalia, is called shimpok. And to wear their shimpok would mean is an indicator that we are in possession by the gods. So when we're wearing the robes, we embody physically the gods. So to wear it would mean that I'm calling the gods and spirits down.
Right. And what's this behind you? Are we in your ceremonial room?
So this is my private shindang, which is our, yes, it's like our ceremonial, my shrine room, my temple room, we call shindang. And behind me, you will see all the tools and all the various items that would embody the gods. And behind me, I have my custom-made murals that are painted by shamanic painters, so to speak, where they receive visions of spirits and gods.
Can you tilt the screen a little so we can see up?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the figure there?
So I have many figures. Right now in the central area of my mural is Buddha. And normally Buddha is not a shamanic god per se, it's a Buddhist deity. But because shamanism and Buddhism is so interwoven together, that a lot of shamans have a lot of Buddhist deities and gods within their pantheon. My family, my lineage, they're strong Buddhists. So that influence, is in my pantheon, that Buddhist influence in my family.
It's interesting. People don't realize how many magical and shamanic processes are included in Buddhism.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not talked about very much.
No, because even if people went to Korea and they want to visit shamanic shrines, it's actually at the Buddhist temples where you can have access to those shamanic shrines for our gods. So it's interesting, a lot of the Buddhist temples, they will have separate shrines and separate temples for our shamanic gods, like for instance, Tenshin, which is the god of mountain, or Yomang, the god of the ocean. So these shamanic gods and deities are also part of the Buddhist temples. So that sometimes as Mudangs, when we want to go for prayers or pilgrimage, it's interesting that we actually go to Buddhist temples too to offer our prayers and stuff.
Yeah, great. Great to know. All right, so please continue. You have many objects there in front of you, and we'd love to know what is this and how do you use it?
Yes. So these are, we call obangi. Obangi means the 5 flags. And obangi, it has many different purposes. The main purpose of obangi is to do divinations, because each color is a representation of certain directions, seasons, even certain mythological creatures and animals, as well as certain deities, spirits, and gods. So a lot of times, obangi could be used for divination, and at times it's also used for exorcism, cleansing purposes.
The colored flags.
Yes.
Yes.
So each color represents seasons, animals, direction. So for example, yellow would indicate the center, because for us, we have 5 directions, including the center.
Oh.
Center. So a lot of cultures and other traditions include 4 directions, but for us, we also include a center as a 5th direction.
I love that. That's so nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start using that.
So the yellow is a representation of of the earth. Like also mythologically, yellow was a representation of the Yellow King, which is like our ancient ruler, so to speak. So he was like a deep. So yellow would indicate the center. Yellow will also indicate the Yellow King, Earth, and also it's also between the 5 colors. It's also the highest association because it's
Oh,
at the center where everything meets and comes together as one. So it has the highest representation association in terms of hierarchy within the colors.
so how do you use that fabric? How do you use the fabric pieces there? Would you lay them down on the altar or you hang them?
So a lot of times during my divination sessions or rituals or ceremonies, we roll it up like this. And a lot of times we'll grab random 2 colors and pull it. And depending on the 2 colors, we'll read into it. Because sometimes there are very designated meanings, but also there are non-designated meanings where we get separate messages from the spirits and the gods. So normally, if I would see something like this, it will indicate a person's living situation. So I see the green color as money, and I see the white color as rice. But also at the same time, if we talk about spirits and deities, the white color is reference to our shamanic god Prusa Harmony, and the green color is referencing Tongja Tongye, which is our child spirits and our helpers. So there's many meanings, but every time we pull flags out, there could be separate meanings associated with it. That's outside of the norm.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So it's a divination tool.
Yes. And also it's used as an exorcism because with the 5 colors, we have 5 generals and warriors that are associated with the 5 colors. So we use an exorcism, then what we do is we call the generals and the warriors of the 5 directions. And they all come to exercise and to cleanse like bad energy, bad spirits, anything that's negative within the 5 directions.
Okay. Right. And what are these shiny silver dishes?
Oh, so right in front of me, these are my offering bowls. And each Mudang and temple, they will have certain numbers of offering bowls. And it's everyone's different. But for me, I have a set of 8 offering bowls. And this is offering for water, and this is offering for liquor. And every day, my daily ritual is to, 1, I can't enter my temple without being fully cleaned. So I have to bathe, hygiene, everything has to be cleaned. Then I enter my temple and I change out my water offerings every day, change out my liquor offerings every day, and I go into my prayers. And I do this dependingly, once a day, 2 times a day, or even multiple times a day, depending on the work I have.
Wow. That's a busy schedule.
Yeah.
You have to be already showered and bathed and dressed.
Yeah. Whenever we do ceremonies, usually when we go to kutangs are commercial spaces that we could rent for shamanic ceremonies and ritual purposes. Because Korea is very modern now, so it's very a city. So it's hard to bang and drum and sing and dance at all times of the night without the neighbors complaining. So what's interesting is that there's a side business popped up where now there's kutangs, where there's commercial spaces for us to rent for our ceremony needs.
Yeah, that's terrific. Because I guess it could go late into the night. Last hours and hours.
There are times when everybody's ceremony is different, but there are some people's ceremonies could go for 2 days straight with no rest.
Wow.
Some people's ceremony could last half a day. Everybody's ceremony is different, but initiation ceremonies are 3-4 days long. Some certain ceremonies are days long or even years long, depending.
And then do you know approximately how long it's going to be, or do you go in it and you're led?
Yes. So a lot of times once we start a ceremony or ritual, we start off drumming and gonging and, with our chants, songs, and prayers. And the purpose of that is to open the spirit doors, and we allow the gods, deities, ancestors, whatever spirits to descend that needs to be part of this ceremony. And a lot of times when these spirits descend, we get channel messages that tells us time to time that this ceremony is going to be hard and difficult, and we have to, we have to focus, and that it will take days. So there are times where we are led. There are times where we get warnings, advance notices, and there are times where we don't know and we just kind of go with the flow.
Right. Yeah. So do you work, is this done alone? It sounds like there's a lot of people involved in this.
Yeah, so the way Korean culture, our shamanic culture works is that we are not lone practitioners. Korean shamanic culture is all about the community. So whenever there was like a Kut ceremony, it was equivalent to like a block party here in the US, where you opened your doors and all your neighbors came, everybody ate, drank with you. It was a celebration. But nowadays, Kuts, they're more private, because now there's a lot of stereotypes, a lot of negative, implication that goes with shamanism. So people are more, more private, where they're not so open to the public anymore.
Oh, what do you mean? Why negative about shamanism?
Well, also Korea, not to get so political, but Korea went through a lot of religious, changes, and Korea is actually the #1 Christian Asian nation in the world.
Okay.
So they're very, so not to say that, but they have a lot of negative stereotype, because with the war and things like that, there was a lot of government that tried to suppress Korean shamanism, or even with the Japanese occupation, they said Korean shamanism was dirty, that it was beneath their religion, which is Shinto. So there's a lot of generational, like brainwashing, so to speak, that led people to believe that this is like the devil's work, or this is negativity, or this is like witchcraft, like where they have like the negative,
And isn't that the story of the universe?
Yes.
All the times of different people, they take the ancient way and call it rubbish.
Yes, but what people don't realize is that nowadays, the religions nowadays, or any beliefs, they're all based on the ancient ways. They all taken from the ancient ways. So, yeah, so what, at religion, even though outside of the exteriors is all different, but if you look at the root, I believe, at the root of everything, there were similarities. Every religion likes candles. Christianity, Buddhism, whatever, we all like candles. Everybody uses some type of incense, or some people might use smudge bundles, or, there's always, so there is always some sort of like similarities in religion, I believe, because they were taken from ancient cultures and traditions.
Yes. Thank you for that.
But you did mention I do have tools. One of the most mainstream, or one of the well-known tools of a Mudang, is her fan and her rattle.
Oh.
And, yes. So I will show you a rattle that I have as backup that hasn't been activated. And they're usually a brass or metal, depending how they're made. But they're rattles like this on a stick.
Yeah, it's on a wand, and they're all attached with...
Yeah, and shake it. This has not activated because I have my other rattle that I use, but this is my backup in case the other one breaks, or I lose, something happens to it. This is my backup.
Okay.
This is the one that's activated. You could tell because it has the 5 colors indicating the spirits, the gods. So a lot of times, so this is the one I use. This is whenever I do ceremony, anything.
Even on video, I can feel its energy.
Oh.
It's very different.
Oh.
Yeah.
So a lot of times the Mudang shamans, they use the rattle to get the attention of the spirits. So it's almost like dinner bell, like you ring the dinner bell, like, hey, everybody, we're about to have a ceremony, or, we need to do some work. So a lot of times the bells or rattles is the indicator to call the spirits of sorts.
Uh-huh.
And this is Mudang fan. So this is our fan. And
Ooh.
our fan has
Oh,
many
wow.
fans. We have many different designs. This is more of the modern approach, but there are Mudangs who actually create and design their own fans. But this drawing, it has more of a Buddhist element to it, but everybody has different fans as well.
Did you design this one then?
No, so a lot of shaman products is now commercialized in Korea. So you could just walk into like a Buddhist Mudang store and they will have different flags with different type of wood and different type of colors and different types of design. And, you know, the shaman, they basically shop for what pulls or what calls them or what they like.
Oh,
But
that is a big fan too.
oh, yeah, yeah.
How do you use it?
So we use it whenever it's ceremonies. So whenever the music's starting, the drums are banging and the gongs are going, when it's time for me to call my gods down, I'll wear my regalia, I'll wear my shimpok, and I'll grab my tools. And once the music starts, these tools are used to call the spirits down. It's almost like you lighting the path. It's like you're activating the yellow brick road where the spirits are supposed to follow and descend.
Oh, okay. So you'll move the fan in that kind of.
Well, it's not that we have motions that are set, but everybody, their physical interpretation, their body rhythm, it's all different because also our gods are very different. So some Mudangs may have a lot more Sanshin gods, so everybody's energy is all different. So therefore, their jumping style or their ceremony work is different.
Oh, okay. Yes, of course. And you mentioned that's for a female Mudang.
Well, so all the tools, it could be used by male or females, but majority of Mudang shamans in Korea are females, and there is a small percentage of male Mudangs, and we call them Paksu Mudangs, but it's a small percentage of men who are Paksu Mudangs. But the tools is something that all Mudangs use. Every Mudang will have a fan, a rattle. Every Mudang will have their flags, and every Mudang will also have their knives.
Whoa! What are the knives for? Are they real?
So no, they're not sharp because it's dangerous. But we have separate knives to use for purpose for ceremony, for a part of the ceremony where we say riding of the blades when the shaman gets possessed by the changun, the warlords in general. And what she does is she rides on blades that are sharpened, and she rides and jumps on top. And that's a physical manifestation showing to show that we are possessed by the gods. But these blades are not sharpened. But these blades are used by changuns and shinjangnim. They're very different types of warlord type of gods and deities. Their main purpose is exorcism, which is, they go out to fight. They go out to fight the negativity. So a lot of times we use their knives. And a lot of times after an exorcism, what we do is we throw the knives on the floor. Depending how the knives land, it tells me whether or not the bad negativity left. And if it hasn't left, then I have to throw into an exorcism again and again until the knives land in the way that I need them to land, to show and indicate negativity or bad spirits left.
Yes, of course. I just want to back up a minute. It's on my mind. It's not leaving.
Okay, yes.
How come there are so few men? How come it's mostly women doing this work?
Well, that's a long story. But I will try to explain the best I can. If you think about, so shamanism was a matriarch thing in Korea. And a lot of times it was the women who were doing shamanism and not the men. And a lot of times, and I believe it's because it has to do with, how do I say, maybe our family dynamics, so to speak. For example, at least traditionally, even now, the backbone of the family were the moms, were the grandmothers, the mothers, you know. They spent hours cooking, cleaning, making clothing. You know, they were the protectors of the family. So a lot of times when we are shamans, a lot of the work we do is for the community, but also is for our family, because maybe, you know, I had a shaman within my lineage, so therefore I was called to be a Mudang. Everything is based on family. So I believe a lot of times Mudangs are females because that maternal, that matriarch instinct that pushes females a lot further for the sacrifice of their family, more so than men. Not to say that men won't, but on traditional roles in Korea, that's how it was. And it's interesting that a lot of Paksu Mudangs, even though they were male Mudangs, a lot of them were one of the earliest LGBT. A lot of Paksu Mudangs were transgender.
Oh.
So yes, so a lot of Paksu Mudangs, even though they were male, they had female energies. So it's interesting how even though they were male, they all kind of changed to like you know, they were transgender or part of the LGBT, and they were, you know, they cross-dress, because the thing is that as Mudangs, the different regalias that we have male gods and female gods, and we can't really identify with one sort of say gender. We have to be fluid in a sense where I have to be able to accept male energies and female energies.
Nice. I love it when there's no gender at all.
Yes.
Or like you can encompass any which way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just say it's like we're conductors in essence. Conductors.
Yes. Okay, thank you. What else? What else do you have to show us?
Well, I have a lot, but there's many ways of divination. One is the flags. Other people will use, I don't know if you can see it, rice.
Oh yeah. I like that bowl too. Is it wood or stone?
Oh yes, wood. It's wood. We use rice, just plain rice, or coins, you know. And a lot of times, for, you know, we could get pulled. Sometimes during a reading, we want to throw down the coins and read.
Like that.
Yeah, we just throw it, see how they land. A lot of times, so this is a lot of times there are learned systems how to interpret coins, but I haven't learned any systems. I am just completely spirit led by my gods. So however the coin,
this toss, anything?
Oh no, I didn't. I just tossed it just to toss. I had no intentions of tossing it, but I mean, I had no intentions of like reading it, but so whenever there's a client, we just toss it, and depending how it lands, we read it and we interpret it. And it's the same thing for the rice. We just grab a pinch, however you feel inclined, and we just throw it down on the table. And some people will count each grain. Some people will read the images, like almost like Turkish teacup readings. They will read images and things like that. So there's many ways that people do divination readings.
The rice would be pretty tedious if you had to count all of that you spilled.
Oh yeah, it gets all tedious, which is why we grab a pinch, you know.
Okay. There was something. Oh yeah, the beads. I saw you pull out something that looks a little like a mala.
Yes. Well, you know, Korean shamanism has a lot of Buddhist elements. So a lot of Mudangs, you see them carrying a lot of beads, and you know, it's traditional mala beads, 108 beads. But for us, what we also do with beads is we don't, you know, we use them for meditation and prayers, but also I use this to keep count of my vows. Because as shamans and, you know, Mudangs, I dedicate 108 vows to my gods and spirits. And when I mean vows, I mean full body vows that I go down to the floor and up.
Oh.
So it's, yeah, but these are like the basics of what a Mudang should do, because the reason why these are the basics is it's about our relationship with the spirits, right? It's about how deep our relationship is and how connected we are. So a lot of times when Mudangs go into prayer, meditation, it's not because we're trying to attain enlightenment. It's because we're also trying to, as I say, polish our rock so that we could be a better vessel for the spirits and the gods, so that therefore our relationship could develop deeper and stronger. And the stronger and deeper our relationship is, I'm able to provide for my community much better.
Right. I love that, the visual of being a vessel, ourselves vessels. Yeah.
Well, that's what Mudang means. Mu means the gods and the spirits, you know, and Tan means the altar. So what it means, Mudang, in a sense, there's many definitions, but one of the meaning is I'm a Mudang, so meaning that I'm an altar of the spirits. So which is why a lot of times our bodies must be kept clean. So I mean, sometimes during ceremonies, we have to abstain from like pollutants. For example, no smoking, no drinking, no sex, certain foods we need to avoid. So there's a lot of practice, a lot of, you know, it's not easy, especially being in New York City. I'm born and raised American, born in New York City. So, you know, even though I'm Korean and I grew up traditionally, there's still some cultural differences that I wasn't exposed to growing up here.
Right. I'm curious about the 108. You know, it's that magic number that everybody's got a variety of different reasons of what it means, why it's always 108. What are some of your thoughts on that?
So it's interesting because as that's something also I researched. Why 108, you know?
Yeah.
And there's different theories of why there's 108s. But some people may say 108 is also about, it's mathematical. So it's about the three times, past, present, future. So that's 3, right? It also has to do with the holes in our body. So they would say the eye, the mouth, the nose, the ears, and things like that. So they kind of take into account like the world in a sense. So there's like 4 seasons. So they take into account our body, the seasons, and the time, and they kind of multiply it together. And that's how they got the sacred number of 108. Like these are how some of the teachers or elders explain how 108 came to be. That they take different aspects of our bodies, our human, the earth, and time, and combine it together to get the number 108.
Yeah. And there's always 108 beads on there.
Yes, always
100. That and flip it.
Yes, there's always 108 beads, but you know, baby shamans, like newly initiated shamans, should always start with 108. But the more advanced veteran manshins, which means 10,000 spirits, is an indicator of their status. As in their shaman career, they've came association with over 10,000 spirits. So we call them manshins. Manshins, at least with my elder, in the past, she's done 1,000 bows, 3,000 bows, which takes all day, all night. And to the point of physical exhaustion and everything, but we can't break our prayers, you know. So it's hard work. It's not easy. This path is not easy.
Right. So this is your full-time job. And you have a family and children. Yes.
This is my full-time job because I'm not allowed to do anything else. But prior to this, I was a CPA, you know, I worked in accounting, pursuing my CPA, working for the district attorney of New York City, doing their auditing, forensics accounting, international law firms. I was very much into the business world, but somehow within my path, you know, when it came for me to accept this, you know, my spirits and my gods told me that I was only meant for this, and I'm only allowed to do this. So.
Oh. How about your children? Do they show any signs of interest in this too? Do they?
Um, well, I don't really talk about this so much with my kids because they're so young. My oldest, he's 5, and my
Oh,
youngest will be turning 2. But they always do love coming into my temple, my shindang, my shrine room.
mm.
But, you know, they want to come here because they want to bang on all my musical instruments. They want to they want to play with the drums and the gongs, and that's what they want to do. But
That's so funny. It's real life.
also, they come in here to get offerings. You know, when the offerings all come up, we have candy, cakes, you know, cookies.
Oh,
So
right.
sometimes they come in here and ask, "Hey, mom, does the gods want to give me a candy?" So like they'll come in for that.
Right. Well, thank you, Jen. It's been so good talking with you. We have just a few more minutes left,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to make sure that we let the viewers know you've created a special offer if anybody would like to come and do some initial work with you.
Yeah, so one of the very first steps I always have to do with anybody is do a divination reading. And a lot of times my divination reading could be very involved. And sometimes it could be also very long too. So it's depending on each person. So what I decided to do was to provide like a special introductory that kind of ease people in how we do readings and divination. And I could talk about Korean shamanism and things like that. But I just wanted to give an introductory, like a introductory of our divination and the way we work.
Okay, super. So we'll put your contact details if
Thank
anybody
you.
would like to reach out to you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for this session today.
Oh no, thank you.
My last question is always, what have we not covered that what did we miss that you would like to?
Oh, you know, I think the purpose of shamanism and a lot of things is, is to restore balance and order. All right, to restore the balance. Right, something must have happened where the balance wasn't created. So I believe a lot of the work that we do is to balance the harmony, to balance the order that's not there, if that makes sense.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Mudang.
you so much. Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you. I appreciate it. Have a good day.